Hey everyone, it's Elisa from AK Educational Consulting, and I am back for our final C of our 7 C's for building resilience. I hope that you've stuck with me and you've learned a lot about how we can build resilience in our kids through these videos. So here we go. Without any further ado, today we are talking about control. What do I mean by control? Well, I mean a sense of agency over our own life, being responsible for our actions and our own life, right? And this is a big one. This is not easy to get to that point where we feel like we have responsibility for our actions and the things that we do, and we feel a sense of agency. So, what can we do to help our kids build this last C of control? Well, there are a couple of things that we need to reinforce with them. The first is that privileges and respect are earned. We have a lot of entitled kids in our society today, right? That don't feel that they need to earn things, that feel that they should just get them. And we have to roll that back somehow. And we can do that by working one kid at a time, right? Through the students in our classrooms or our own kids. That if you want privileges in this house, in this classroom, if you want to be respected by me and spoken to respectfully, treated respectfully, you have to earn those things. You do not just get them by walking into a room and saying, all right, all the things are just going to come my way. It doesn't work that way. We also do this by holding kids accountable for their actions. And this is something that in many areas we've lost sight of, right? We have a lot of parents who've lost sight of this. If our kids do something and it is something that goes against our limits or our boundaries, or those things that we talked about back when we were talking about character, then they need to be held accountable. They have to understand, and there's a lot of overlap here, right? Because we talked about a lot of this when we talked about character. They have to understand that there are consequences for their actions, and that for the rest of their lives, there will be consequences. And, there are laws, and judges are sometimes tougher than our parents were, right? On when we break a rule or a policy. So this is something you just have to get used to in life. There are rules everywhere we go. There are norms, there are rules, there are laws, there are policies. And no, we don't agree with all of them, but we are expected to follow them to a reasonable amount, and we will be held accountable if we don't. And lastly, the last thing that we can really do, and this is something that I think as teachers we see a lot in our classrooms, is the not making excuses. We have a whole generation of kids who like to make excuses for things. My own kids are included in this. And I say this a lot at our house, that that is just an excuse, and that doesn't work for me. We have to let them know that they are responsible for their words, their actions, their choices. And we're not going to excuse those things because they're, having a bad day or whatever it is. Yes, we can be understanding and empathetic and compassionate, but we're not going to allow kids to use their circumstances as an excuse, to use a label as an excuse, or to just make excuses constantly for their actions. We're holding them accountable. And this is hard. And I realize that we've had a long time of adults maybe not reinforcing these things and kids learning these sort of behaviors. And so now it's not as easy as a snap of the finger to just undo all of that. But within the context of your classroom or your school or your home, these are things that you can reinforce with kids. And these are the ways that we start to build resilience. So if we want them to have agency over their lives, they have to take responsibility for their actions. They have to understand that privileges and respect are earned, that they will be held accountable. And I know it's hard because sometimes we see the exact opposite of all of these things happening, right? Out in the real world. But we have to do what we can within the context of our community or our environment that we're in charge of to beef up these skills in our kids. All right. So we're through all of the 7 C's. If you missed any of them, please go back and watch the other ones that I've talked about. And our last couple of videos of this month of May and our SEL theme of resilience and perseverance will be all about one of my favorite things, which are picture books. So I hope that you'll join me back here next time to learn about some really amazing picture books for building resilience in kids. Until then, have a great day.